Hi, friends. Welcome. This is the AI Empowered series, your complete guide to AI in your personal and professional lives. I'll be going over fundamentals of integrating AI into your life to take you from beginner to expert. So, today we're going to be talking about the fundamental mindset you need to have when working with AI. This is a foundational insight that reveals why most professionals are approaching AI completely wrong. And a simple shift of that mindset will transform AI from an intimidating competitor that you're trying to beat to really a powerful collaboration tool. So I want to ask you a question. What if the biggest barrier to AI mastery isn't actually a technical one, but a simple misunderstanding of what AI is? And another question, what if professionals advancing fastest with AI aren't the most tech savvy, but those who understand this crucial collaboration principle? By the end of this video, you'll know exactly what AI is, how it works, and the practical framework for starting your AI mastery journey with confidence and not fear. Most professionals are either paralyzed in their AI journey because they don't know where to start. There's just so much noise and misinformation out there, and they've tried it, they haven't really found a way where it fits into their workflows. It's not quite the quality that they want. I think that that's a mistake. You need to start using these things because the revolution that AI is shifting how we work is already taking place. And if you don't embrace this technology, you risk being left behind. I don't like to use fear as a tactic to motivate people to do things, but I think it is a reality that with technology, especially one that has advanced and become adopted so quickly, if you don't embrace change, the story doesn't end up good for those people. Whether you like it or not, AI is here, and there are real uses for it in your personal and professional life. So let's talk about how we can get the most out of it and help us grow. A lot of people just avoid it because it seems too complex or threatening. Others jump in without really understanding it and its limitations, leading to poor results and lost trust. Well, the rapid pace of AI creates a pressure to act without proper foundation, which is what I want to try to establish with you here. Those who master AI fundamentals now will create that foundation for that exponential growth as it becomes more capable. You'll be developing the ways that you're working with it now so that you're growing alongside it rather than playing catch up. Understanding what it is really the first step. It removes that fear factor and enables strategic and confident collaboration. Here's the truth. This really is the key insight that I started my journey on. It's not magic, it's computing. It's a sophisticated pattern recognition, making statistical predictions. AI analyzes massive data sets. It basically sucks up all of the information that is digital on the internet in text, pictures, video, sound, and more. It's really growing in its capability to understand the world, understand the internet, and then use all of that data to predict the next best word or the next best piece of what it's creating. It's a really interesting technology because it is the amalgamation of human knowledge, essentially, which is in a digital format. It really takes everything that we've built throughout our history and culture that we've preserved and digitized, and it allows us to interact with it. But it is just computing that data. So if you think of it like that, if you ask it a question like, what's the capital of the United States? It's going to look at a bunch of different sources that it's been trained on with that data, and it's going to understand that the most likely correct answer is Washington, D.C. It really is trained on what we've created. And if you think about that, we're not perfect. So the data that it's trained on is at times messy, and that's why we need to be careful about some of the output. It is not necessarily the truth that comes out of AI. It is predicting what the truth is based on all of the information that exists on the internet. So this is why it can sound extremely smart and sometimes very confident about being right, but it can be completely wrong. So just understanding how it works and understanding that it can be wrong is a really good first step for you to work with it. Understanding this removes the mystique and helps you set realistic expectations with your AI collaboration. When you understand this as a pattern recognition, rather than actual artificial intelligence or something that can really freely think on its own, you start to work with it effectively instead of being afraid of it or thinking it can do more than what it really can. I want to move into this collaboration mindset that I mentioned. Professionals that are succeeding with AI are not using it as a tool. They're not using AI. They're working with AI. And really an amplification tool for their own capabilities. So AI excels at processing that information. We've just established that. Generating drafts, brainstorming ideas, handling repetitive tasks that are fairly standard. Humans really excel at context, judgment, creativity, verification of these outputs. So the most powerful results come from that human, strategic, and AI execution collaboration. It really creates this amplification of capability on both sides. When a human can create the situation for the AI to execute, and then to perform that judgment and that refinement so that it gets to the quality that you really need. This collaboration mindset really removes those fears and enables that productive AI relationship. AI is not going to take your job, but it is going to make you more powerful at your job. And if you don't use it, unfortunately, somebody else may, and you may just not be as productive as somebody with AI. So that's really why I want to set this foundation where you can grow and be the most powerful professional in the room. The AI collaboration amplifies your existing capabilities rather than competing with them, creating an exponential productivity improvement as you work together. Understanding AI's strengths and limitations is really crucial for effective collaboration. So the AI strengths are information processing, content generation, pattern recognition, consistency, and unlimited availability. It can work 24/7. The limitations can be factual inaccuracies based on the data that's gone into it and it's been trained, nuance, context, understanding. It can't really understand very subtle nuances. It doesn't excel at ethical judgment. It is essentially a soulless computer. So it doesn't have a moral or ethical compass other than what is trained in the data and by the people making the LLMs. It doesn't have emotional intelligence. It might tell you, I understand how you feel when you're talking to it, but it is just saying that to make you feel better when you work with it. It doesn't have that emotional intelligence to really understand those emotions, those soft skills, those nuances in a social dynamic that humans are very good at. And current events, a lot of times it's only trained up to a certain date. There's a cutoff onto the AI agent or the LLM, and you can ask it, hey, what's your cutoff date? What's your current training up to? It'll tell you a date in which it was trained on up to current events to that point. But you have to be careful if you're in an emerging field and there's new information every day, that you're not working with an outdated model. And they've become pretty good at being up to date and searching the web for new information. But it is a key piece to understand that they're sort of operating within these constraints of data that they've been trained on. Finally, human oversight is really important in AI use, especially at the beginning of your journey, because you're going to be learning a lot about how to work with it and how to improve your quality. And you really want to understand how it works, what works for you, and build that baseline of quality and testing. So when new things come out, you can evaluate them and the quality. They are getting better, but I really think that the key to AI quality output is that amplification of your own capabilities. So make sure you're monitoring the responses and that they serve the quality that you're needing. Tweak things when you see that there's things wrong, if it's not in the right voice, sounds too robotic, etc. Understanding these strengths and weaknesses allows you to use it where it adds value while maintaining control where it matters the most. There's a concept called human in the loop, and it's the idea that a human is somewhere in the workflow with AI at the most important part where you're monitoring its response, its output, and you are tweaking it and making sure that it's not going completely off the rails. Because unfortunately, if you give it poor context or a vague prompt, it can go out in a very wide variety of directions. So really just try to, especially in the beginning, but almost I want to recommend this for every AI interaction, make sure that you are monitoring what it's doing because it's a powerful tool and you don't want it to do things you don't want it to, especially when you start to give it access to more capabilities and even integrating into some core business processes. And just a continuation of this point of its weaknesses, there's one really core concept that we have to understand when we're working with AI, and that's hallucinations. It's a bit of a funny term about how AI can sort of lose its mind at times when you're working with it based on maybe a vague prompt or poor context or poor training. It's probably its biggest weakness. If you've used it before, you've probably seen it. It just presents completely incorrect, sometimes nonsense output that has nothing to do with what you need. And you kind of get frustrated. You're like, it's so clear. I know everything that I want to, for it to do. Why isn't it just doing it? And it just can't because of something that's wrong with the training or fundamentally with how you're using it. So be on the lookout for these hallucinations. Always use your judgment. Professionals who develop systematic verification processes to catch and correct the hallucinations will have a much better experience with this technology. If you just blindly trust AI, you're going to get into a situation where it does something that you don't want it to do, and it might be embarrassing in your personal or professional life. So be very careful. Understanding these hallucinations transforms them from a dangerous surprise to a manageable challenge, really. And so always kind of keep that human in the loop function at top of mind when you have important things you're doing with AI. This next piece here is the most important aspect of this first module. It's that mindset shift to a systematic approach that removes the fear and builds confidence through structured AI adoption. So I really encourage you to try out these tools and just play around with different things. But the next step is to really have that system. So I want you to follow these next steps. Start small. Begin with low stakes tasks like email drafts or brainstorming. Choose your tool. So pick one tool, like ChatGPT is the most common, but I like Claude as well, or Google's Gemini is quite good to master first. Pick one and really understand how that model functions, its voice, what it knows, all these things that we've been discussing. Develop these verification habits. So always check important information and review the outputs critically. Practice regularly. This is the most important piece. You won't be able to learn something unless you practice it every day or very often. You're going to get better quickly as you understand what it can and can't do, where it fits into your life, where you should take over, where you need to monitor it, and then how you actually execute or apply what it gives you into your life. The core value of this really is that AI adoption through that collaboration framework builds that confidence and your capability, as well as improving the outputs that you are getting from AI. I want to talk now about building your AI verification system. So professional AI users don't just accept outputs blindly. They have a process for ensuring quality and accuracy. So fact check everything, verify claims, statistics, specific information through independent sources. I know that it's a bit of a pain to get an answer that sounds legitimate and then have to go to Google and verify. But really, if it's an important task, you should be doing this every time. It won't take away from the power that AI gives you, I promise. You may take that extra little bit of time, but like I said, it's mitigating that risk that you're going to find yourself in some embarrassing or even liable position if you're using AI outputs in your job. Review for context. So ensure the AI outputs align with your goals, audience, professional standards, test and iterate those things. So experiment with different approaches and refine your AI collaboration techniques and document what works. Build your professional AI best practices based on successful experiences. One thing I like to do is keep a note or an Excel spreadsheet with prompts or different things that I add to prompts that enhance the output. These professional grade AI verification systems really enable you to unlock that next level of output confidently and mitigate the risk of embarrassing situations. So the perfect way to understand AI, it's like having this incredibly well-read intern with unlimited energy, but questionable judgment. This is about understanding its limitations, and I want to drive some key points home here. It has access to incredible knowledge, vast amounts of information, and recall patterns better than humans can. Though it lacks the context and the wisdom of a nuanced professional to make these sort of creative, strategic decisions. So you really need to be aware that it lacks that context, that nuance. And like any junior employee, it requires management. AI produces better results with clear direction, clear instructions, and oversight. So this intern analogy removes that fear by framing it as this like all-knowing being and frames it as someone that's incredibly smart and capable, but lacks the experience that we have as nuanced professionals. How are we going to get better at AI? We need to take a systematic approach, and I like to think of it in this roadmap scenario. This is just the beginning of that AI transformation journey, and you're going to complete this through our whole guide, but right now, you understand what AI is and how to approach it confidently. The next step is covering your first interactions with it, basic prompting techniques, and then the following modules are going to go into more expert, more advanced techniques to get you to that expert professional level. Completing this foundational understanding positions you as a master of advanced AI techniques to create significant competitive advantages in your career, but also just in your personal growth of who you are, how you understand yourself and understand the world, and using technology to really enhance every aspect of your life. Your transformation from an AI beginner to a master starts with taking these first practical steps that we discussed today. Choose one AI tool and create your free account. Start with a simple, low-stakes task like drafting an email or brainstorming something in your life. Apply that verification framework to review those outputs, and then subscribe for continuous learning with me in this guide that I'll be taking you through progressively to build your skills. Take immediate action with a proper foundation and build the confidence and momentum needed for this AI mastery. It's really going to enhance your life if you can harness this power that exists at our fingertips today. What's really incredible about this technology is that it's widely accessible and can do some really amazing things. People are becoming millionaires by sitting in their home and working with AI to create incredible and useful things. So I hope that you're inspired to follow me on this journey. We're going to be talking about a lot more as we go. And let me know what you think in the comments about this first lesson. Let me know if I missed anything, if you have any ways that you like to think about AI working, what it is, what it can't do. And yeah, I'll see you in the next episode. Take a look at the links in the bio for more information about myself and some books that I have on this exact topic. I hope that helps you follow along on your journey. Thanks.